Greetings everyone, I'm Record the Second, and welcome back to my channel. This video will have minimal editing just because I don't have time to make it good. More on that later. So I want to welcome all the new people because there has been a huge spike in new subscribers and views to the channel. I appreciate all the attention and all the feedback, advice, and general support, so thank you all very much. The last video I made isn't even 2 weeks old, and it's now the biggest video on my channel of all time, and I'm just really happy about that, so thanks again. And since that video is about mob tweaks, I guess I'll start with that because I know most of you watching who are new, you subscribe because of mob tweaks. So first of all, I want to say I will probably not backport the pack. People have been asking for that, and I'm sorry, but no, because like I said, I don't have time for that. It's gonna be such a waste of time in my opinion, because the pack works. The first release of the pack is for 1.21. The technical stuff for 1.20.5 and 1.20.4 is so different. It is absolutely a fool's errand and even a Sisyphean task to backport the datapack, especially because it has features that just don't exist in the previous versions. I do have a version that was work in progress that was never finished and is not really a stable release that works in 1.20.4. If you guys really want it that badly, I can post it somewhere, probably just on my Google Drive, so people can download it if they feel like it. The problem with that is that, like I said, it was a work in progress. It was never finished, and that version is not the final version. It doesn't have some of the features, and it's straight up just gonna be incompatible. If you decide to play with mob tweaks with this version, if it comes out in 1.20.4, and then you want to jump into 1.21 or a later version, it's just not gonna work. Your items are not gonna work, and a lot of other technical things will not work. So I think it's really not worth it unless you just want to have your world stuck in that version of Minecraft. Then maybe you can enjoy mob tweaks that way. But if you plan to update to a newer version of Minecraft with mob tweaks, and you already want to have some items in the 1.20.4 version, you're not gonna have anything carry over properly. So I'm just telling you right now, especially with the totem is not gonna work at all, not even remotely. It's kind of pointless to make this happen. I don't want to seem like I just don't care about people wanting it. That's not true. If I didn't, I wouldn't even offer you this version. I just want to let you know, you probably think this is gonna be great and that I should invest my time in that, but the truth is I just can't. There's a lot happening in my life right now. Nothing bad, just changes, and it requires a lot of time and attention. And I cannot be spending time on something like this because 1.20.4 is just gonna be in the past now, okay? That's past. In 2 years or more, it's gonna be a completely irrelevant version of the game. I know some people still play 1.12 or 1.8, I understand, but those are very specific circumstances. When it comes to mob tweaks, there's absolutely no point in backporting it. So I hope that satisfies the inquiry that people had about backporting, because Mojang constantly changes technical things even in these minor versions. 1.20.4 is not compatible with 1.20.5, and both of these are not compatible with 1.21, and they're just, all of them are not compatible with one another, and they're such minor versions too. You know what I'm saying? It feels like kind of a waste of time for me. So I hope you understand, and like I said, if you really want it that badly, I can give you the 1.20.4 version. But do keep in mind, it's not gonna be compatible with the current release or any future release. And then don't blame me when something happens if you try to update to 1.21 and your totems don't work anymore. I warned you, so there it is. Anyways, I hope that clears it up. And I don't want to sound condescending or inconsiderate or anything like that. It's just not a good time investment. When it comes to the future of the data pack, I have a lot planned. I want to carry over some stuff for bedrock parity. There are also some ideas in 1.0 that didn't happen, so maybe I can try those features again. I also want to do something with zombie horses to buff them really well, because they're kind of not very useful considering they burn in the sunlight. There's not enough of a payoff to using them. With skeleton horses, you can use them underwater, which is unique. But with zombie horses, they really don't do anything special. So I want them to do something cool probably in the nighttime. Maybe the closer it is to midnight, the faster the horse is, something like that. Anyways, you're welcome to suggest ideas, and I'm interested in exploring them. Another thing I want to do is to make breezes spawn naturally in some places, just because getting wind charges is just so difficult, and they are really hard to get in large amounts. So I want to add breezes, maybe where they could spawn during rain instead of Enderman, something like that, or during thunderstorms, so they're not too common. The other things I want to add is some more baby variants for the creepers and the skeletons. They would be balanced compared to the vanilla baby zombies, of course. They would have less health and attack damage, but they would be quicker. That would be the drawback, and I think those could be really fun ideas. And also the baby creepers will be way less destructive, and I just think it's kind of fun. I do have a list of ideas, and they're kind of just little things here and there, but those are kind of like the big ones that I like to highlight for now. And of course, I'm open to ideas as well for mob tweaks if you guys have any. Now let's move on to other data packs. So Nether Weather, it's pretty much feature complete. I don't have much to add to it besides just port it to new versions so it works. That's basically the plan for that data pack, although of course if you guys have some good suggestions that I like, I can add them to the pack as well. Nothing else is in plan for this data pack except for parity with mods and data packs. I'm thinking of just adding some of the custom biomes in some of the popular nether mods and data packs to accommodate them and make sure that in the biomes where it would make sense to have storms, that they could have storms. Other than that, really nothing else I can think of. Now, Overskip. Not much to say about this data pack. I also find it more or less feature complete, although future versions might have some new features because of vanilla editions. For example, the way you can craft decorated pots using nether brick. Obviously that's something that came from 1.20, stuff like that to just keep it up with the game. And I can't think of much else to do with that data pack except for one feature that I'd like to add: a wandering trader in the nether with whom you could trade specific nether items. For example, you can give him fire charges and flint and steel and obsidian, and then you can get from him stuff that's not obtainable in the nether to make surviving in the nether more possible. That's one major feature that's remaining that I have not added yet. And last but not least, more mobs. So that's my huge project. It's the biggest data pack that I have at the moment. If you're not familiar with it, make sure to check it out because it's got a lot of interesting features. It's getting better with every version. Basically, we have a lot of improvements to the way mobs work, some game design improvements, and also visual improvements in a lot of places, especially in this upcoming release. A lot of new textures and models, so I'm really proud of that. And that version is honestly nearing completion. Finally, I know it's been a super long time since the last More Mobs update. I kept delaying it because with the way I have it now, I have specific release strategy, and it's been a long time since I've added new mobs, which is what I really like to do. I really want to do that. It's hard to explore because in the strategy that I mentioned, you need 5 new mobs in an A snapshot, right? I'm currently at 4D. I already had 4A, 4B, and 4C snapshots. I would like to change that because, as you can see, it can be quite limiting, but I want to wait until beta for that to change. So there are 20 more mobs that need to be added. Actually, I think it's only 10, yes. Only 10 new mobs need to be added before we go into beta, because we would meet like the halfway point of the amount of mobs I want in the data pack. And some of you might say, oh, that's quantity over quality, and I would like to think of more mobs as not that. I mean, if it was really that way, I would have already added all of these mobs anyways, right? I really want to make sure that the new mobs are really good. They really add something to the game. They're really fun, they're really cool, and they are creative. That's what I want to achieve. Not every mob can be super creative. I avoid adding real life animals, but I do not exclude that possibility. But overall, I like to add really fresh ideas that I can come up with, and something that really adds value to the game, not just exists there for the sake of it, you know? Kind of like frogs, which I like frogs, but let's be honest, they're pretty useless. So I would like to add mobs that at least have like 1 or 2 things that they can offer to the player that would be universally useful. Maybe not to every player, but something that you can see the appeal of. For example, something that adds to the experience of the ambience or makes the game more challenging. That's one of the main design pillars of more mobs, is to make the game more challenging and not necessarily hard to play. Definitely not make it a rage bait type of experience, but just make it more challenging, which means that it would challenge the player to make decisions, basically. In more mobs, you really need to think about every single encounter almost, because there are a lot of new dangerous mobs, but at the same time, there are also benevolent mobs that are useful to you, but they are not that easily killed. For example, the scooper. It's a pretty rare mob compared to some of the other mobs, especially compared to animals in the overworld. The scoopers are much more elusive, they're really fast, they have a lot of health, but they drop some good food. It's really hard to breed a lot of scoopers. yours. But they have become even more useful in this new version because you can now use them basically as land boats. Mojang just added leashable boats and stuff like that. But scoopers are still very useful because they're fast and because they also drop food. That's kind of what I've been doing honestly for these past few releases, is adding stuff to existing mobs that adds new value. I have 2 mobs that I'm prototyping at the moment. One of them is almost ready. The other one is much earlier in the stage of development. So I have 2 mobs in prototyping and 3 more mobs for the next big major release that I've not even started on yet. The limitations I've set for myself is I want these A snapshots to be really exciting. You get 5 new mobs, it's all really cool, but then again, it's a lot of quality of life improvements as well. Like, just look at the way the Flaming Tarantula as a mob has evolved, when he has new drops and has these cool sounds that were added in previous versions, and now it has a new model and texture, and then he was also renamed because it used to be another spider, and the evolution of the hunch and how it works is also quite different in this new release compared to the previous ones. This mob is constantly improving, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't really made that many new mobs, because I'm still working on the older ones, still improving the way they look, the way they sound, and the way they behave. Anyways, back to the new version. I know people want to hear when it's coming out. Again, I cannot promise anything because I already broke multiple deadlines. I just cannot follow it because, like I said before, Minecraft is constantly adding these like huge technical changes behind the scenes. If you guys are not versed in the technical side of Minecraft and the way the data packs work, it's honestly been a huge pain updating from minor version to minor version, and it's constantly breaking everything. Like, the pack barely works. It's literally just 1.20.4 versus 1.20.5 versus 1.21. It's literally version after version. Stuff just breaks constantly. I'm not gonna complain. I'm just going to state the reality of the fact that I don't want to release a more mob snapshot that's going to be broken by the time the new Minecraft version comes out. Obviously, I can't predict it, but when I'm working on it and I see already the snapshots in the next version for the next release completely breaking everything, and obviously they're switching to a new system for items like what happened in 1.20.5. It's like, okay, there's no point in finishing this version and releasing it now because it's going to be broken in literally the next Minecraft release anyways. I already know this, so what's the point in releasing this version now? I better wait until that version comes out, and then I pour the data pack to make sure that it works. And then 1.21 snapshots start coming out, and it's also breaking everything, so I gotta update to that again. So it's this painful process, which honestly took forever, but bit by bit I almost updated everything. There's like a couple more things I have not updated, and honestly I just need to check the entire data pack, every single feature, just to make sure it works. I am not confident in any features working at the moment. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is new projects, stuff that hasn't happened yet. I mentioned this before, but I would like to make some mods. Problem is, I've never made Minecraft mods and I have no idea how to do it. At the moment, there's no way to add these features without mods, or at least they wouldn't be good enough for me. That includes Missed Opportunities, which would be a really great mod. It would be based on my series Missed Opportunities, which so far only has 1 video, but I have 3 more videos in the works, very early stages, but they are in the works. They are gonna happen, and these videos are gonna inspire the mod quite a lot. Obviously, not everything in the videos is gonna be in the mod because it's like a million ideas, and a lot of them are really basic ideas that are not developed much, but a lot of things in those videos I want to add with a mod to the game. By the way, if you know how to make mods, if you're watching this right now and you know how to make Minecraft mods, like the code itself, let me know. We can maybe team up and make it happen. The other mod I want to add, it's just in the idea stage at the moment, but it's a mod that brings back some old, cancelled, unfinished, promised Minecraft features into the modern game and really modernizes them in the new game design philosophy of Minecraft. So, for example, something like a wool armor, which was the early prototype for leather armor, could be brought back as a sweater, which could be a decoration item. Obviously, it doesn't protect you very much, but it could also include some of your arm vibrations to make the deep dark a little bit easier. That's just one of the features I have. There's a couple things from old Minecraft stuff that I would like to bring back. For example, the giant maybe could have some kind of implementation. Stuff like audio loops, which were tested early in Minecraft's history, kind of like the Nether ambience. The isometric screenshot could be really cool to add, or when mobs run away from creepers when they explode. That's a feature that was in snapshots at one point and just never happened. It's been so many years. Maybe if we do it now, we can make it work well. It's just something that happened back then. people then forgot about it and just kind of never come back to that feature idea. And I think it's a cool feature. These are just a couple of the items in my big list of features that could make a comeback. Another mod idea I have, it's actually something that we are working on, a mod that makes diamonds valuable again, sort of. Something that I'm already testing is in more mobs. In this new version, we're going to roll out some of these diamond changes, like replacing diamonds in a lot of chests. Not all of them, but some of the structure will be replaced to give you diamond splinters instead of diamonds. Diamond splinters are kind of like nuggets for diamonds, so basically you need 9 to make 1. I just think it makes the game progression much more rewarding. I feel like people just move on to diamonds way too quickly, and it's such a big resource, it's such a big progression boost that I think it's way too easy in the game. For me personally, especially with the amount of ways you can do it, you can loot really easy structures, or you can trade with villagers, which we all know villagers are incredibly overpowered, which is something Mojang is working on. But then again, we have no idea if these features are ever going to be finished, because that's just how Mojang rolls. That's the idea for that mod. You might remember I just said earlier that we are working on this. Well, we made an add-on which needs a little bit of fixing. There are a couple bugs that really need to be fixed. It's almost complete, and I actually feel like I can release this really soon. I don't know when exactly. I just need to kind of get on some of the other stuff, like make a video for it, also commission logos for it. Feature-wise, it's almost complete. It just needs to get some bugs fixed, and then we can post this add-on. It's not a mod, it's an add-on for Bedrock Edition, and it could be the prototype for a mod version. So like I said before, if you know how to make mods and any of these ideas sound interesting to you, please let me know. The last idea I have for a mod would be an Aether redesign, which some of you who are long-time subscribers might be confused, because I have an Aether datapack that I haven't touched in many years at this point. Yes, it's a whole different approach to it. My datapack kind of tries to reimagine the Minecraft overworld in the style of the Aether, which has a lot of features from the original mods, but also a lot of new features that I just came up with myself. And basically this datapack just removes and replaces vanilla stuff with Aether stuff. It's a whole other approach to this, and people asked me before, well, why can't you make this another dimension? And the reason why is the point of the Aether datapack that I made is to replace the overworld experience. That was the whole idea of it. This mod would be totally different. I don't know how this could work with all the legal stuff. I know the Aether mod developers have some legal protection, which I completely agree with, and I would comply with whatever they say. If I can't do something, I would just listen to them. But what I want to do is I want to like redesign the Aether in a way that I think fits better in vanilla Minecraft, because the Aether mod has some outdated game design. Basically, it has a lot of custom items which seem cool, but then they're all just gimmick items. Basically, there's a sword that kills all pig mobs instantly, which is cool, but then again, it's a whole other item. Something that is an enchantment is much better. So imagine that you want to carry around a gravitite sword and the flaming sword and the pig slicer, or whatever it's called. It's 3 items in your inventory, in your hotbar. It's just not very useful. Instead, you can have enchantments for your gravitite sword. Basically, that's what vanilla did. But for my Aether mod, I would redesign the way enchantments work. It would have its own enchantment system. I'm not sure about armor trims yet. That I'm not sure about. There would still be custom dungeon loot that you can get, custom weapons. For example, the Hammer of King B-Dogs. It's a cool weapon. I just don't think it's very interesting the way it works currently. I would redesign it to be something more like Mjolnir, so it would be really fun to use, but also unique in its own way. It would not just be like the trident or the mace, it would be its own thing. Those are just like a couple ideas I have. I also have ideas that relate to like the trial spawner and how it can be used to summon Aether bosses to make bosses respawnable in one structure instead of having to find a million structures. Obviously, the vaults are a very good addition to the game. That actually brings me to probably my last idea I'm gonna mention today for a mod called More Vaults. So this mod would add a lot of vaults to structures that exist in the game, and some of the ones that I really like the most are the Nether Fortress Vault and the Piglin Bastion Vault. Also, I have ideas for some other vaults. Basically, they would use the same element of multiple players can loot this one chest, but only once. That's kind of the appeal. And I would have creative versions of that. For example, it could be an Ant City vault that's inspired by the Shulker. They could have really cool designs. I have really cool sketches. Okay, honestly, they're not very cool, but that's just because I don't have much artistic talent, especially when it comes to digital art. But if they were done well, they could be extremely cool. My favorite is probably the Bastion Vault idea, but I have a lot of these ideas. I actually posted them somewhere on Discord. That's another mod I would like to make. Honestly, Mojang might add this eventually themselves, but I don't feel like waiting for them. If any of you know how to make mods and any of these ideas sound interesting to you, get in touch with me. Maybe we can make it work. But anyways, that's about it. I have a video that I'm making right now. I only recorded it, and it's gonna be edited, so it's gonna take a long time to edit. After that, the video could be posted. Obviously, I still need to make a thumbnail and a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of YouTube stuff that I need to make for every single video. So it'll take time. I don't know when this is coming out, but there is a video in the making right now. And also, I mentioned this before, but the Missed Opportunities series will continue with more videos. So stay tuned for that. I know it's a very long update video, but I wanted to cover a lot of bases when it comes to stuff because I have a lot of new subscribers. I want to communicate to them what's going on. And also this video is an update for older subscribers too. I have an annual August video that recaps the whole year basically, and I talk about updates for the future in this video. This happens every year, so make sure to not miss out on this year's August video. I also request questions, so if any of you guys have questions, I would love to answer them in that video. So that's coming up in the August. Obviously, it's not that long until August, so that video will be made. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. I will also continue the Mary's Arcade series. It's gonna take a lot of editing, although I already started, so it's not gonna be the most painful process. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this time. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope you can understand me when it comes to the mob digs thing. I know most of you, the new subscribers, that's what you care about, so I wanted that to be the first thing I talk about. So anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash subscribe, and as always, stay